that's finished. That's done. Now we'll do the other side. Cover all this up so it's nice and safe when we open it back up. Like right now, look, there's no dust. Love it. First ever rod bushing ever done here at Super E Service, start to finish. 33 is what the old rod was with the worn out bushing. I'll go ahead and line up the rings. Bar it over a couple of times.
Want to go around again? Because that was like 25.
25. Ooh. I dropped it a lot. I dropped it 8 thousandths. 0, 10, 20. Okay, 27. Let's check the other side. 26. Just shy of 26, so it's a thousandth off. So the hole that I cut that one out on, yeah, we'll just account that one is 8 thousandths shy. Damn it. I mean, that's the problem, is we don't know what this rod was. No, because this rod already had a new bushing pressed in it. I just found it, which we're off 1,000 as far as protrusion from one side to the other. If it's off and we cut it the other way, this one will be high on this side, not that side. This one is high on the inside and low there by 1,000. So we could change it. I mean, that's kind of an arguable thing right there, whether or not 1,000th of an inch is worth it. Hard it over hard enough to like get the, well, I think so. I'm sure it's probably just 1,000th out. So this is how it is sitting in the engine. It's at an angle like that. Okay, so I need to take it over there and look at the fixture and see if maybe we can cut it the opposite. And if it goes 2 thousandths back the other way, then we know we need to bore new holes in it. Okay, back to the fixture. Now our bushing doesn't fit because we've already machined it. I mean, it doesn't need to be bored. But this one is 8 thousandths short. Almost too short. We're like that by 2 thousandths of an inch. How will we combat that? If we know that we're up 2 thousandths of an inch right there, maybe we should put a 2 thousandth shim under here. I think before we do that, I would rather surface the whole head. Whenever we find the right hole, like I said, these are not, they're too close together. As long as we find a good hole on this head that we can use between this one, that one, that one, and that one. We have 4 of them that are 6.929 or a variation of it. I'll just surface it on a freaking angle. We're pretty close, but we just have the ability to fine tune it even more. I could just put the indicator here and take 2 thousandths out. Just make it 2 thousandths different. In theory, that would change where this is drilled, right? Because all I need to do is change the surface of this mace tube. So I decided to use my locator, this guy, and we're just gonna try and get our number off of this rod. I located it down through here with this ball mill, and I'm gonna go ahead and try to make my own hole off of a connecting rod. Let's see if that works. By level of what that pilot was, we'll see, who knows? I mean, all bets are off until we actually put the rod in the engine. Okay, so I just fixtured up another connecting rod with a new bushing in it that I pressed in who knows how long ago, probably years ago. Put it center. Let's go 80 real quick. No, I don't want to go 80. Let's go 200. Hopefully it'll hold it. Don't crash, don't crash. Actually, let's stop for a minute. Let's look at the witness marks and see if I have the same amount. I do not. It looks like it's cutting a lot more out of here than there, which would mean that we're making it shorter. You got a little thin. You watching the little light around right there? It does feel like it's quite a bit bigger on the inside. A lot. Yeah, that's a lot bigger. With that said, do we even continue on with this one, or do I leave that and pop another hole in somewhere? So I could still cut that bushing at the other size. I can still move it, maybe. I didn't cut very much out of it. That gap was too big right there. So I've been sitting here beating the hell out of myself with this damn machine. I think we've got the entire procedure down. I can bore them. I've got all the tooling needed to do it. All we need is for this pilot to be square off the deck, and then I need this pilot and this pilot to be 6.929. That's pretty hard to do, to measure 6.929 inches when we don't have a ability to. Especially to drill a hole. One hole needs to be drilled. It's proving difficult. Let's just say that. All right, I moved it to the second hole over. Looking more promising. Thinking I might just go with it. Hopefully it'll just like scrape along the clearance at the bottom a little bit. Oh, I saw it sprinkle it out. Oh. Okay, I'm fairly unhappy with that. Let's shut that off. I think I moved it. If I'm going down that pilot and this flat bottom cutter right here touches off on the bottom, it should be consistent all the way around it. Back over here with another one. Let's try it again. One more around. 0, there's 10, 20, 25, 27. Okay, 27. Let's go all the way around again. That's 27, so that one moved it also. Keep going, 80, 90, 0, 10, 20, 31. That's crooked as shit. Okay, well that didn't work. Well, back to the drawing board. Well, not really, you know, at least now I do have the procedure. That took no time at all to do. So the only thing I'm fighting right now is that pilot being square on that deck, and then that pilot being the same distance from that pilot. So just straight geometry is all I'm messing with now. I've got the whole, now granted there's crap everywhere here, but we can cut that out real fast using, we already, so, you know, one thing down, good. We got that done. Now let's just figure out where we're gonna cut. We figured out how to cut. Okay, I'm banging my head against the wall with all of these. I've cut a bunch of different cuts out. I'm playing around just trying to get to know how to do adjustments on it. On the bottom, you can also see it down there. You can see how this deck is not level with this pilot good enough that the wrist pin is going to be square. We're what was it? How many thousandths? 6 thousandths off, which kind of looks like it right here. See how far? When I touched off, I got a little witness mark on the bottom. Shows you how this pilot is for this deck. So we're a little bit high on this side. So I need to raise this side up. Oh, there goes Cody's truck. He's gone. This is killing me. I mean, I'm thinking, okay guys, this is a fairly difficult task I'm finding. Only because I want to make a process. I want to make the process highly replicatable. If I can't make it replicatable, then I might as well not do it. And that is not replicatable, what I'm doing right there, right now. I need to surface the head. I'm really just, okay, let me point it out to you. Julie thinks I'm talking to her. Okay, I think I'm gonna cut one more and double check so that I can get some finished numbers. Look at that. I mean, it's tight though. It's tight. Everything's tight because, okay, take another look at that. You think we could replicate that? Hell no. Okay. So, we cut one. I had 31 thousandths protrusion here, and 25 or 27 down here. So I'm off 6 basically. No, 4. I called it 5. We was pretty much 5 thousandths different in protrusion. So that says that this piston is forward. It's cocked forward, right? The wrist pin, our bore in here, is going like that. So we have a couple of ways to try to combat it. I've already got the guides put in, okay? So no matter really what we're gonna do, let's make sure this stays up. No matter what we're gonna do, we cannot change the angle of the pilot in relation to the deck surface without drilling a new hole. One would normally think that you would punch a new hole in it. So I think there's a chance, yeah, there's no pilot on it. It's actually ready to hit the button, go down, and cut this bore out to test that. So I don't think, I'm running out of places that I can get a good, I'll have to just get a different cylinder head. And by this point, I'm kind of getting sentimental to this cylinder head. I got all kinds of stuff going on it. I'm kind of spending a lot of time with it. I think I'll just keep getting creative while I can. See, I cut that one out to test the deck surface in relation to the pilot. Okay, so I used this, chucked it up, and went down to at least get a visual aid to get the contact patch the same, because it was catching on the front. So I just put feeler gauges underneath the cylinder head, right? And all that really did, though, was change the relationship of the deck to where the cutter is. Well, I want to follow the pilot. This is going to follow wherever this pilot is. So I need to get the relationship from this pilot to this deck surface to change. And I'm thinking I need to draw it. Hopefully I can get this. The table is just holy freaking crap. It's just, so I'm thinking I need to draw it out. That's draw it out in relation to where the deck is right now, because I surfaced that, so I don't know. I mean, it should be good. It's just been a freaking nightmare, actually. I want to cut it straight, but the problem is now I need to just get the level out, actually. Now we're going to have to just go off of level. Get this level, because it's a fraction off. Because I've been running off the pilot, and it's easy to change everything when you cut the guide and you cut the seat together. If there is any slight variance, then it changes. Both will change, the guide and the seat. So, you can make them mesh together when you cut them both. Well, on this one, we've got the wrist pin going in the piston, and I can only cut this. And by the time you figure the wrist pin is sticking out, I'm worried that I'm not cutting it straight. Basically, yeah, in the bore, that I'm not cutting it straight, and I'm changing the protrusion number because it's crooked. So we've got a 4 thousandths variance between here and here. Imagine that, like at the top of the pilot to the bottom of the pilot, a little shorter than that. It's like this. Okay, so basically I need to lift up on the rod, right? If it's going like this, and I lift up on the rod, then that takes the rod closer to where the angle is. So I have a 10 thousandths feeler gauge underneath here. And the problem I was having with why I have this whole contraption here is because it wants to go true. So when I put the 10,000 feeler gauge on here, it actually raised the rod. So I'm kind of bending the rod right now, I guess. It's probably not a good thing, but I'm testing to see if a 10 thousandths feeler gauge is enough to change the angle. And that's absolute guesswork. I have no freaking idea. So I was thinking I need to draw this out on the board over there and draw out the rod and the piston on a graph. I need a graph or something, and draw it out in relation to the deck surface And when you go 3-4 inches further forward on that, how much do I need to surface off of the cylinder head to make that 4 inches come back true? Which essentially that I would be changing the angle of the pilot by changing the ground, not the pilot. And so that's only because I have a surfacer right here and I can very easily cut. Well, how much? That's the thing, how much? And this thing is not, if I have to cut like anywhere near tenths in this, there is not a chance in hell. This surfacer right here, actually, now that I've never really talked about that, but it's a 1,000th machine. And it kind of struggles with 1,000 too. It's to hit 1,000th. You know, you can hit 1,000th, but not much closer. It doesn't get that good. So with that said, you know, how much can I measure over here and decide? See, if I draw it out and I can decide how much to cut off of the entire thing just to shorten the rod. Because, you know, I mean, you can act like we're going to measure from side to side for the whole thing, but the only part that needs to be in the equation of what to surface is right here. Like, where does this bottom need to be? Because if I say I want to cut 5/1000ths off and I cut it off from here to there, where it changes the angle, then I go from here to there. So what I would need to do is get this number, that way I can come over and indicate here with the surfacer and put that wherever it needs to be, and then go over here and indicate that with the surfacer. And then I'll know exactly what I need to cut off so that I can surface this thing, drop that rod on there, send that thing on that angle, click this up so that it'll follow with the pilot, because I really just want it to cut the pilot. I want it to run the pilot, not the machine. The machine takes the top pivot point, locks it, but it allows it to follow. If there is a little variance, actually it kind of will bind up, so it needs to be straight either freaking way. But so we can do all that, draw it all out, or we can drill a bunch of holes in here and keep changing crap until we get lucky and find it. My mind hurts. I don't know. You know, at least when we do figure out how to make a hole in something straight, once we figure out how to do that, right? Like, be able to drill this hole straight. Once we figure out how to drill this hole straight, and then we also figure out how to make it 6.929 to from the center of this to the center of this. So I gotta get my tape measure out, and once we measure this 6.929 and have them, this one really doesn't matter, I guess, whether or not it's true with the surface. The little end, yeah, it needs to be like Nat's ass. It needs to be good, because I want to be able to put the wrist pin in, put the piston in, and the first bar that thing over 1 or 2 times, and I want it to be the same number on both sides of the piston. I think everything's just going to be happier if that's it. The other thing would be, what if the block has a slight variance on the surface, and I'm sitting here trying to do this when it's not freaking needed? I don't want to say that, because, you know, it's pretty freaking needed to have things square in the engine. So I don't think so. I think once I get this all figured out, okay, what I was getting at is, okay, once I figure out how to drill a straight hole and figure out where I want the hole at, once we can do that, we actually have the process now figured out without all this crap. This will be gone. We only need this cutter and this. But once we figure that out, we have the processes ready that I could turn that into a finished size, ready to go in the engine bushing. Beautiful, down to the T, normally like 1/1000th and 1/10. Maybe 1 1.5 tenths or maybe something, just barely over, not maybe 12 tenths at the most, which is perfect. I freaking love it with the holes in it and all that. Yeah, at least now I guess we have the process, and this works like a freaking dream. This guide seat machine makes a wonderful surface, and you can't even see it because I already, well, you can right there. Okay. There, you can see the line. Okay, the one on your left is the finished going in the engine. That is out of the rod hone with diamonds, and that rod hone right there. That is what the surface on the left is. Look at the surface on the right. Of course, there's no, like, I don't know how well oil retention would be inside of there. So probably a reason why I would go ahead and go with the home. But that goes to show you right there that this makes a great surface. It cuts it really, really good. And if I get it set, you take it to the freaking bank, that son of a gun is going to be straight, it's going to be true, and it's going to be good. We're going to have it all figured out with different protrusion numbers, you know? Like, let's say that you want -4 or you want +3. It's nothing more than drilling holes. Once we can figure out how to drill one hole 6.929 or 6.924 away from each other on a, what do we want? I mean, I'd like to use a pilot, and that's where the problem comes in. So I guess maybe I am outside of the tolerance of the valve guides and the pilots, but I doubt it. I don't think so. I think it'll be all right. I think I've got the angles all weird because I haven't really been, I've been going off of the number what the machine does, and it's been working. We're just doing something freaking different now, and it's acting freaking different. It's making me having to try new stuff and I guess figure stuff out. While you're looking at that, that's actually not, it's attached by the bottom block, but I got creative and threaded. This block here is the bottom half of this, okay? and if you look down in the bottom, there's the thread of the handle. Take a look at this. That is the bracket for surfacing the top of the block, I think. Okay, so I grabbed that out of there, and the handle for the thread here is going through the cylinder head, up through this little block right here that is touching the rod right there, and then but the thread down here is actually threaded once again through there, through the cylinder head, through our piece, and then it's threaded into this, holding this down. And then I've got just a nut and a bolt, but the nut is a T-slot because I have a bunch of those. So and it's wedged in and pushing down, and all it was is because of that 10 thousandths feeler gauge right there. I got a 10 thousandths feeler gauge under there, and I'm trying to raise that up, right? But every time you do that, it drew up and it would lift this. So I said, hell with it. I'm gonna bolt your ass down. You're staying down. So that thing's down, and then I true it, hold it here with this, and now we're ready to cut. I have not cut with this 10 thousandths feeler gauge yet. That's what I'm getting at. You're riding with me. What a contraption. So if we go ahead and run with this test, then my numbers are gonna have to be, indicate with the surfacer 10 thousandths here to nothing. And so what that's gonna equal here is, shit, hang on, I gotta think about this. I mean, it's just gonna cut a crap load out of down here. It's gonna be a bunch from the bottom of there. I don't know, I might be a little too crazy with the numbers. That's why I was thinking about drawing it out.
Talk to me, Goose.
Okay, we put this, see this is free. Second hole over, bolts away from us. I'm trying to remember how we fixture it so that we can replicate it. Okay, it needs to, that is good. Let's put this down in here. It goes up next to it. Well, let's loosen this so it moves a little. Put that in. That's just a locate. Now this is where it gets, I'm not too fond of that actually, but the biggest, okay, hang on, because let me get it set, and then I'll tell you what the hell I'm doing. This one can be tight, but this one really can't. This one needs to just, right there, just hold it. That's what it's doing. Otherwise it pushes away. Maybe I need that stronger, huh? That's what you would say. But I need this point and this point to be with each other. I found no matter, even if it's a little bit off right here, it wants to tweak it. So they need to be pressing directly into each other. And well, you know, actually what I want to be able to do is pull that out. See, because if I loosen, well, let's see if I loosen it. No. So I need a thread over here on this. See, there's tight and then just holding it. Kind of. It's kind of down in there. You know, ideally we would want that to drop in like nothing's there, and we would want that to drop in and completely line up, which, let's see if it does if I let it off. Oh yeah, okay. See, I can feel which way it needs to go by pushing the pilot in there, so that needs to come my way, which is something I probably ought to be bolting, that was Cody's idea too, and I think I might want to do it. Is, see, this cylinder head is in a freaking head machine. I can roll it over and I can hog holes anywhere I want. I can, especially using the ball mill, and then I could tap them and whatever we want to do. So what I'm getting at is this side over here really needs a thread also. I need to be able to tighten them both together and have them both mesh at the same time and feel them both. This right here, actually, I don't like it. It's not what we're gonna do for good. But if I can get it to stay and get this pilot to go in and out easily like that by hand, then that means everything's lined up. So I need this over a little bit, so loosen. Hope like hell it don't move, huh? Trying to see in between there. That's where it's really crappy to not have. Maybe I'll just do that. And that. Hey, look at that. Okay, well, so you watched me go through it. We're gonna actually tighten this one and push this up against it to tighten, and then you can do a little snug. Let's see if it works. Okay, yeah. If I were to tighten it, but okay, whatever. It wasn't freaking locked in there, you little asshole. Nope. Son of a bitch.
I want you guys to keep in mind, you see part of this. This has been 2 days. But have you ever seen us not figure something out?
It's been months.
Well, you've been thinking about it for months since the last rods we had to do.
Okay, that's too far. Yeah, you can kind of see it. Trying to see where this is more just maybe for the first one. I'm trying to see if it's
Finagling it.
Oh, come on. Okay. Oh.
And now it's tighter than this one. All right, we'll be back with an update.
We're walking around the shop trying everything we can possibly try to hold this. I mean, down to like trying anything. I've got all the servicer stuff out. We're just gotta be a way with what we have here. You know, I mean, as of right now, I got nothing but time. We gotta figure it out. I don't want to have to go anywhere and have rod bushings done. If rod bushings are bad, I want to be able to be like, oh yeah, we can do that. Yeah, no sweat. So you wind up with crap like this, trying to figure out what the hell we're gonna do. That's not holding it. If I pull this pilot out, and there's nothing holding here, so we're just brainstorming, grabbing anything, throwing it on here. Wow, okay, so I stripped it back down, kind of take everything we've learned and go back to the drawing board. And I was like, okay, let's just start with level. And the machine is level. Okay, so I might start with a new set of holes because the head is not. A little off that way, way off that way. See if I can loosen it. So let's level that with that, and then set that at 0. And then let's, I don't know. There's my fixturing phenomenon right there. This is all mounted. This is all on its, and it's not level when the machine is. So yeah. So I leveled this back up. It's different. It was way off. So let's tighten it down. Now we can stick a pilot in it and see how it is. See how far off our number is showing. That will cause me to have to do a new 8mm and new valve guide and new holes if these are not true. So level it up, put it pipe. Let's see. I'm staying with this. I go back and wash it too. Okay, I got -5 right there, and that's what the spindle is too. When I put it up there, it's -5 also. It was at -10 or +5 now. It was at -10. That could be it. The problem is when I go this way, my pilot is off. It's -40. So, but the deck is level. So that is what we're off. That keeps throwing me off right there. But if it's off this way, that's the connecting rod. That means that the piston is turned a little sideways in the bore by a couple thousandth of an inch. The fact that it reads the same this way, which is the way that affects protrusion, right? Well, yeah. Yeah, this way doesn't matter of nothing. So it's off this way. That's what I measured. Well, that's what I was measuring. -40. And the machine, okay, that's -45. The machine is -15. The machine reads level too. This thing probably just needs to be zeroed, but it's -15 and this one. So if this one is also -45, so that's a 30 difference. At least it's negative. It's not the other side.